welcome back to another edition of For the Culture Tubi Movie Review. They say you guys may not be a tablecloth, but you stay keeping us covered. And to that we say, hell yeah. Today, guys, we have another entrant into the Tubi movie hierarchy of cinema. And the title of this film is called Hot Girl Winter. Oh, it's a scintillating tale. We're going to kick it right over to Leslie because this is her pick. So please tell us about Hot Girl Winter.
All right. So it dropped in this year of 2023. It was written and directed by Patricia Cuffy Jones, and it's starring Golden Brooks, who we all know and love. She played Maya on Girlfriends. And it also stars our girl, Shell Purcell, who we know wrote, directed, and starred in Two Wrongs and Two Wrongs 2, aka Four Wrongs, as Tristan likes to call it.
Shout out to Miss Purell. Shout out to her.
Purcell. Play with her last name. Anyway.
She clean, man. She clean as fuck. It's great.
She is. But anyway, so we start with the first act where we see Jess, who is in this film is like Mrs. Claus, you can call her. She's coming downstairs dressed in sexy lingerie, ready to have some sexy time with her husband, Nick, who of course is Saint Nick, Mr.
Chris Kringle.
Exactly.
For all y'all out there.
Exactly. So, however, she's disappointed when she sees a note from him saying it's going to be another late night in the workshop and he'll just see her in the morning. So we cut to the next scene where Jess has her bags packed. She's shouting for Nick to hurry up before they miss their flight. They're supposed to be celebrating their 30th anniversary and going on a trip alone together. But of course, their son Chris comes and he's telling his mom, hey, Dad just sent me a message saying he's dealing with a crisis in the workshop and he just needs a few more minutes. Well, Jess probably still frustrated from last night. And she's like, this ain't gonna work. So she storms into Nick's office, confronts him about their trip, and he basically tells her like, well, babe, all the elves are sick. It's probably going to be another like 5 or 6 days before any of them can come back to help in the workshop to get the presents ready for Christmas, of course. So Nick reminds her like, hey, it's 2 weeks before Christmas. I can't leave right now. This trip, I just can't go on. So Nick says, their son Chris is like, hey, I can actually handle any of the letters that come in between now and then. Y'all go enjoy yourselves. But Nick is basically saying like, I'm not ready to like leave that responsibility to you, son. I appreciate it, but no. So basically Jess, of course, frustrated is like, you know what? Like, you need to prioritize us. We need to go on this trip. Everything will be fine here, but you and I need some alone time because we're not going to be fine. And she's like, basically, if you don't prioritize me, then I'll do it myself and I'm going on this trip. And he's like, go. Like, I'm not going. So she goes ahead, goes to the airport, hops on her flight. She calls her best friend Tamira, who lives in Miami, and tells her, hey, we're not going on our trip anymore. I'm coming to see you, girl. And Tamira's like, hey, come on. It's going to be a good time.
Played by Michelle Purcell.
Yes, who Michelle Purcell plays. So
you almost called it Purell, didn't you?
I did. You got me tripping. So Jess it arrives to Miami airport. That's such a rookie move. She leaves her bag, behind her unattended as she's trying to flag down a taxi. So of course someone comes and just steals her bags from right behind her. Turns around, freaking out, like, hey, have you seen my bags? Have you seen my bags? And basically between then and getting to Tamira's house, she has a rough time. She arrives disheveled, dirty, like you could just tell she just been hair all messed up. She's just been through a time. So she's telling Tamira what all she just went through. And Tamira's like, okay, girl, I'm sorry you went through that, but you stay. Please go shower. A true friend. So we find out that Tamira has actually, from what she says, retired from a firm and now lives in Miami doing some nonprofit work for an organization. And she's the chairman of this huge fundraiser that they have. And they host one of the most like important holiday parties in the city. So they're talking about that, and they decide that, hey, we got to get Jess some new clothes since she doesn't have her luggage. So they go have some girl time. They go shopping, and they come back and get cute for the club so they can have a girls' night. And while they're at the club, they run into two men. One by the name of Javier. I don't remember the other one's name, the one that had locks.
It's
I don't think they ever
unimportant.
said it.
It's
Right.
unimportant.
Not
Right,
important.
right. So they're flirting with the guys. Guys are flirting with them. They end up going on the dance floor, and just kind of gravitates towards Javier. They start dancing all like sexy and intimately, you know, all in each other's faces or whatnot. And, you know, he's feeling her. She's like, hey, buddy, I'm married. And initially he doesn't believe it because he doesn't see her ring, because Tamira told her to leave her ring at home along with her broken cell phone.
Mm-hmm.
But then he's like, you know what? It's fine. Whatever. You married. Okay, that's cute. He don't care. As most men don't. Females too. But anyway.
Unacceptable. Unacceptable.
I agree. So they end up going outside the club to a food truck to get some food afterward. And a man comes up to Jess and like puts his hand around her. And that's when like Javier jumps up and comes to her aid. And Jess uses her magical Christmas powers to basically call the man out by name and like says, you know, different things he's going through. And basically just to diffuse the situation. And then she makes everyone start dancing to reggaeton. Like they have this whole like step up moment going on.
Shout out to homegirl in the red dress with the puffs.
She was fucking it up.
They had
She was
this whole,
fucking it
like-
up. What you call those
Yeah,
flash
she
mobs?
was. Yeah,
It
she
looked like a
was.
flash mob.
It was a whole flash mob at a
It
food
was.
truck.
It was.
Crazy.
It was cute though. So shout out to the dancers. So Jess ends up telling Tamira like basically why she ended up traveling without Nick and the problems that they're going through. And Tamira agrees that Jess should be celebrated and not tolerated, and she should just enjoy her time in Miami with her. So then they start talking about Tamira's love life and like who she's been dating, what's going on there. And we flash forward to like the scene where Chris and his dad, Nick, and Chris is basically asking his dad, like, hey, you talk to mom. Nick being stubborn. He's like, no, and she's grown and she wants to go have a good time. So I'm gonna let her do her. And you know, it's better just to leave things where they are. I'm worried about what's going on in the workshop. She's worried about herself. So Chris, being a wise son and seeing what's going on, is probably like, Dad, she probably wants you to like come after her, check on her, put some effort forward, like do something, Dad. And that's when Nick changes the subject to Chris and his girlfriend named Carla. And Chris is just telling her like, Nick is telling Chris the kind of like woman he needs because he is going to pass down the business to him someday, and he needs someone special to help him run it like his mom helps him. So then we go back to Jess and Tamira, who are at another bar, and they meet an older man named Andres, but they call him Andy in the show, so I'll just refer to him as Andy. And he
Andres or Andy.
right.
Yes.
So he comes up to Jess, sits next to her, and they start having a conversation about how he's there for a guest artist who's going to be there, and his cousin actually manages the artist, so he's just there to support. And that's when we go to Tamira, who's playing pool with just some, looks like a drunk guy or whatever. And another man named Shaw walks up to her, who she clearly knows. They have a history. They start, you know, flirting and going back and forth. And she tells him like she's here with someone else. She doesn't specifically say her girlfriend, but it alludes to her being there with someone else. So he does the same thing. And he just looks at this woman at the bar and like he weighs type of stuff. And so Tamira's like, well, even though you're with another woman, like follow me type of stuff. And they go to the bathroom and they have sex, they have a little quickie or whatever.
Shell loves those sex scenes, doesn't she?
She
loves
does.
those sex scenes.
She does. She probably requested that for this movie.
So I won't even be in it if I can't
get
be
it
in
on.
a sex scene.
Mm-hmm.
Hilarious.
So Jess is, you know, has been dancing with Javier. She starts feeling lightheaded on the dance floor. And so, not Javier, excuse me, Andy. She's dancing on the dance floor with Andy, starts feeling lightheaded. So he walks her over to sit her down. He's like, I'm going to go get you some water. So a waitress walks by Jess with like a tray of, I guess what she assumed were like hors d'oeuvres. So she ended up grabbing 3. She's like, oh wait, grabs 3, hurry up, eats them. Andy comes back with her water, and turns out they were not just some hors d'oeuvres. They were edibles, and she ate 3.
That
So
tray was not clearly marked, though. It should have been clearly marked.
it should
But
have.
everybody else knew because he was like, "From the silver tray." He's like, "Oh Lord."
So she immediately is high as a kite, and she starts hiccuping. And every time she hiccups, an element changes within the club, right? So she hiccups, and then it becomes like strobe lights, those neon light strobe lights in the club. She hiccups again, snow starts falling down inside in the club, type of stuff. So Andy's looking around like, what the heck is going on here? Like, that's different.
Hey guys, it's your boy Tris, and guess what? We got new merch. That's right, new merch. Come check it out. Culture101podcast.com. Stay tuned, stay locked in.
And so then we go to the next day where Jess and Tamara are like recapping what happened the night before. And Tamara's like explaining that, you know, she's used to kind of like no strings attached situationships. That's what's going on with Shaw. It's nothing serious. And she informs Jess that the guy Andy she was talking to is actually the most eligible bachelor in Miami. And he recently sold his tech company for, it was what, $2 billion?
Correct.
With a B. So she advised Jess not to tell Andy that she's married. She's like, you know, just go along to get along. You ain't got to mention that. Just leave that out. So, such a great friend. So Javier texts Tamara, since Jess's phone is broke. Tamara gave her his number to keep in contact. And he tells Tamara, like, hey, I want to take Jess to the beach. Let her know. So she does meet him at the beach. He's a photographer. So they have an impromptu, cute little photo shoot. They end up having a picnic afterwards. And in the process, he does let Jess like take some photos as well. And so he compliments her on her skills and says, you know, you should pursue that. And she's just like, kind of reflective, like, there are a lot of things I wish I could pursue, but I can't because the family business, it pretty much hinders me from exploring other things. And he just basically encouraged her, like, you know, you should do what you want to do. If there's new things you want to explore, go ahead and do that when you're ready. So as her and Javier say goodbye, literally 2 seconds later, she's walking on the little boardwalk where the yachts are, and she runs into Andy walking away from his boat. And he asks her to go on a date the following day and gives her his business card so he can get the information to send a car for her. And so then we go back to the North Pole, or Alaska, as, you know, Jess tells Tamara where they live, where Nick and Chris are reviewing some of the letters that are coming in. And Nick is basically reminiscing about how, like, Jess is so great at handling the letters. That's, like, usually, you know, what she does. And Chris asks Nick to tell him, like, hey, how did you and mom meet? Tell me the story. And Nick says they met in Charleston, South Carolina, and he like instantly knew Jess was the one. He fell in love pretty quickly, and he ended up proposing 3 months later. And he just gushing about, like, you know, how magical she is and that type of thing. Really cute story. So then we go to back to Tamara's house, where Jess is decorating, getting everything in the Christmas spirit. And Tamara clearly, like, isn't in the mood for that. You can tell she feels away. She's frustrated. And turns out a celebrity dancer that she hired for the fundraiser dropped out. And she's desperate because she paid a non-refundable down payment or deposit, and she doesn't have enough money to get someone else to do it. So she's trying to figure out what she can do about this. Meanwhile, we go back to Jess and Javier hanging out on the beach, and there's like some pole dancing classes going on, and Jess just goes up, lets her guard down, has a good time working that pole, and it's recorded and it ends up, you know, going viral, unbeknownst to her, right? So, and while they're on the beach, she almost gets caught up, right? She mentions after the pole dancing that she usually dances on the candy cane poles with the L's. And he's like, wait, what? L's? And she's like, oh, I mean, my cousin Elvis, she's a stripper. Like, your cousin be named Elvis? What? But she cleans
That's
it up.
a stripper name. That's a stripper name.
I guess so. She should say Elvira or something. I don't know. Anyway, so Andy next we go to the next scene with Jess and Andy, and he does mention that he was married, but his ex-wife divorced him a year ago because he was a workaholic and again didn't prioritize her. and they do share a daughter, and he does miss her, but you know, he just feels like there's nothing gonna come back from that or whatever. Um, that's when his accountant calls him and informs him that they are short for their charitable contributions for the year. And as they're talking about that, you know, just wheels are starting to turn or whatever, but then she's interrupted because a girl who recognized her from the pole dancing going viral comes up to take a picture with her and stuff like that. And so of course Andy's like, wait, what is she talking about? And he's like, let me see the video. So she shows him the video, and he's like impressed or whatever. So back at Tamira's house, Jess is filling her in on the date, and Tamira says, oh, by the way, I fixed your phone. And Jess is like, okay, but not really excited to talk to Nick, because she's like, if he wanted to get in contact with me, there's plenty of chimneys he could have popped in from. Like, he could have done it without having a working phone. So she's like, he still ain't putting in no effort, you know? So she basically is like telling Tamira, I really don't think it's gonna work. I don't think we're gonna come back from this. And Tamira's like, okay, your husband runs, what was it? It was some kind of like, was a manufacturing company or something like that. She just said something. She's like, I don't think his job is that strenuous to where he's such a workaholic, y'all can come back from it. But of course, you don't know the ins and outs of, you know, what they actually do. So that's when Tamira's like, hey, I got a bright idea. I think you should be the dancer in the fundraiser, since you clearly know what you're doing on that pole and stuff like that. And I think it'll be entertaining. So we go back to the North Pole, where Chris wakes his dad up and tells him he finished all the letters that came in. So dad, go to bed. And that's when like Nick goes up and he's sitting in the chair looking at Jess's empty chair. So you can say he's starting to feel like, okay, dang, I do miss my wife type of stuff. That's when his wheels start turning. All right, so then we go back to where Chris shows his dad that there is a fundraiser that Tamira is doing, and that's actually where mom's been this whole time, Miami. And Nick's like, how do you know that? He's like, you really think I don't know where my mom is? He was like, I've been communicating with her. Like, I know exactly where she is, type of thing. But he's showing his dad like, hey, mom's dancing in this fundraiser. I think you need to go down there. You need to go get mom, and you need to go bid on her, you know, put this effort in, show her that you want her back, type of stuff. And initially he refuses. But then that's when Chris shows his dad, like, okay, dad, there's actually a guy mom's been hanging out with. His name is Andy. They're, you know, all huggy in these pictures. Like, you need to go down there and get your wife, type of stuff. So that's when Nick finally agrees, okay, you're right. I'm going to go get your mom. If I'm not back by the 24th, you know what to do, type of stuff. So we see that roses arrive at Tamira's door. They're for Jess, from Andy saying, let's dance. So it turns out, instead of having to do a pole dance, Jess is going to practice salsa dancing with Andy, and they're going to do a dance together for the fundraiser. So they're practicing, they're getting real intimate, real sexy like. And he mentions that there's an event that he's supposed to host later that night, but he's not really excited. He's not really in the Christmas spirit. And Jess is like, well, I'll go with you. You know, I'll get you in the spirit. It'll be fun. So you can see they're having a good time together. She's really like this joy, this light. She even dresses up as Mrs. Claus and lets the kids come up to her and tell them
Dresses
what they
up
want.
as she is Mrs. Claus. She
Well,
just put on her
yeah,
uniform.
but sure, exactly. So back at Tamira's house, this is the final act. Back at Tamira's house, Jess is basically showing her pictures of her and Andy, and she does mention that, you know, she's enjoying spending time with Andy, but she really does miss Nick. And that's when Tamira reveals like 2 more people have dropped out of the fundraiser. So again, she's freaking out because she feels like every time we get everything together, it's starting to fall apart, type of stuff. So Jess is like, hey, I got a good idea. You know, Javier is a great photographer. You could auction off his services, and, you know, I'm sure he'll do it. So Tamira's like, yeah, he probably will, but we need to ask him in person so he can't say no to you and wear something sexy, you know, to entice him. So they go to a strip club because Javier apparently reserved a table for them. They're thinking that he's just there to be a photographer, you know, for the place, for the strippers and whatnot. But turns out that Javier is a stripper himself. He comes out in his sexy little Speedo, you know, gyrating all in their faces and laps. And you can see Jess is like visibly uncomfortable, but Tamira's enjoying herself. Tamira's a good time. I'm here for Tamira. And she even has Javier, take the 20 from her breast, and she gives Jess the 20 so he can take it from her. And right as he's about to do so, again, another woman recognizes Jess from her pole dancing, video and everything like that. And Jess asks him, he agrees to do the fundraiser. They end the night all dancing on stage, having a great time. So next we see that Nick does arrive in Miami. He ends up walking past the studio where Jess and Andy are in there practicing their salsa dancing. So he sees them with his own eyes and just, walks off type of stuff. And he was in the process of shopping at the time, getting some cooler clothes or whatever. So outside of their salsa dancing, Andy is basically confessing to Jess how much he's grown to care for her, how much he wants to spend more time with her, even though he knows like she's supposed to be leaving. But he was like, I want to be close to you. I want to get to know you more type of stuff. And Jess is just feeling guilty because she had not told him that she was indeed married. So she does tell him, and he looks shocked, and he ends up saying like, I shouldn't be surprised. I should have known that both you and Tamira were using me, for my money, my status, what I could do for y'all. And you're no different from any other woman out here. So, yeah. So Jess ends up going back telling Tamira that she told Andy. And of course, Tamira is mad at Jess. She's like, why would you do that before the fundraiser? I needed him type of stuff. And that's when Tamira confesses that she did not retire. She was actually laid off. And she's not comfortable just being, in flings and non-committal relationships. She really does want a relationship. And she's sad that things didn't work out with her and Shaw. So they both, go their separate ways, frustrated with each other. However, they do come back together and they apologize. Once they're at Tamira's fundraiser, they make up because they're best friends and, they'll be all right. And Tamira's like, hey, since Andy's not coming, can you just do like your pole dance? And Jess is like, well, I still have faith that he's going to come. So Tamira, so Jess walks off or whatever. Tamira then sees Shaw. She's surprised that he actually showed up. And he confesses that he wasn't actually seeing that woman that he waved to in the club that night. That was just some random woman at the bar. And it was just a game that he was playing. And so they both say that, they miss each other. They want something more. Tamira has to decide what she wants because he loves her. And basically she kisses him to confirm that she wants the same things that he wants. So they're together now. Oh. So cute, right? So now it's time for Jess to do her dance. She's still holding out an inch of hope that Andy's going to show up. So she's just standing in the middle of the dance floor, kind of like, what's going to happen? But Andy does come through. He shows up. They begin dancing together. And that's when Nick arrives to the party and he sees them. He's pacing outside trying to figure out what to say when a woman who works there kind of like rushes him off somewhere, right? So once their dance ends, Tamira starts the auction and basically just works her magic again. And Andy's ex-wife is one of the ones that's auctioned off on stage. Andy is in shock to see her, and he's saying like he wants her back, but he's scared. And Jess is like encourages him, like, man, go get your wife, pretty much, like go up there and get her. So he bids, he gets his wife back. That's when Javier comes out. They start bidding for him while Nick walks out on stage. Now it's both Javier and Nick out on stage. Nick basically shouts out in front of everybody. He wants a second chance with Jess. He tells her like, oh, I'll start helping you with this, that, and the third. I'll do more for you. I want to focus on us. I want to prioritize us. Please, baby, please, give me another chance on some Dwayne type stuff. So Jess tells Nick, like, I learned that I need to be like a part of the action. I can't just be a spectator. I want to support you, but I don't want to like lose myself in the process of supporting you. And I just want us to be, a stronger unit together. And I want to trust that you won't go back to your old ways, but she's scared. She doesn't know. So him and Javier, he's like, well, I can show you I won't go back to my old ways. Watch this. So him and Javier start stripping. They go back and forth like clothes for clothes, competing for Jess's attention. And there's a woman in the mix bidding the whole time, like on Nick, like, I'll give you $10,000 if you take it all off. So Nick is teasing like he is, but of course Jess stops him before he removes his pants and, ends up in his underwear. So, he asked her when she comes up on stage, like, are you going to bid on me? And she said, yes, I'll bid on another 30 years. So super cute. So at the end, both couples are basically discussing the events of the evening, and
Both
and
couples. Which two couples?
so it's Andy and his ex-wife, soon to be, I guess,
Okay,
married
that's
again,
right.
and then Nick and Jess. And Andy is saying how his daughter wrote to Nick about wanting her dad to come home because
Yep.
she and her mom missed him, and the letter ended up in Andy's home, which is why he decided to show up to the fundraiser, and then he was surprised to see his ex-wife. And then Tamira, now it's Tamira and Shaw and Nick and Jess. And Tamira's telling Nick, basically, take good care of my friend, and lets her know, like, you can come to Miami anytime, girl. I got you. And that's when Nick and Jess, make their grand exit. So as Tamira and Shaw like dancing, they hear like sleigh bells overhead or whatever. And they're like, looking at like, oh, okay, that's interesting. Okay. So Nick and Jess get home, where their son is waiting for them. And Nick actually decides to let his son deliver the presents on the 24th. He's like, you know what to do. You got it. And when you come back, invite your girlfriend Carla. She can go for a spin. We can meet her. And, they end up, Nick picks Jess up. They make out, and he carries her off in the end. What do we think?
Woo. Hey y'all, it's your girl, Shonda Dunn, and I'm here to tell y'all that we now have merch up live. You can find some t-shirts, you can find puzzles, you can find candles, whatever you want, we got it. Come check us out at culture101podcast.com. So that movie was a
I'll let
hot
you go
ass.
first, Sean. Sean, you got it.
That movie was a
Thank
hot
you.
ass.
Thank God. Thank God.
No.
Thank God, Sean.
First of all,
Thank you, Sean.
let's get into it. Santa told her that he can't come with her on a vacation because he was so busy. Every time we saw that nigga, he wasn't doing nothing. He ain't go to the damn. He ain't go near the elves. We ain't see no elves. He ain't go to the warehouse. He ain't do nothing. All the whole time he was just sitting at that desk. He could have went on vacation.
They didn't have a budget for that. They didn't have a budget for the. They didn't have a budget for
that was some
elves.
bullshit.
Fair.
Also, damn, it took Maya 12 hours to start finding new niggas. Like, I thought you just needed a not going out here on multiple dates with multiple niggas. And then when the rich nigga going to say, oh yeah, for our first date, she was like, date? Bitch, you don't know you on a date? Stop playing. Stop playing. Stop playing. Like, you've been playing in your husband's face this whole time. Oh, with all these different men.
Ooh.
And then her husband seeing her all face to face with this man dancing, and he looks in the window and walks away.
What? He walks away. What? It's not real life.
Get into it. Absolutely no way. Like, first of all, I would have shattered that glass by walking through it. Fuck the door. I'm coming in. What are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about?
I mean, you can't hate the play. You gotta hate. You can't hate the play. You hate the game.
That shit was crazy.
Like,
yeah, it was just. Yeah, then the way they kept doing these scene cuts and it'll go to something else, and it was. I wasn't really
sharp.
a fan.
Yeah, it was like.
Wasn't really a fan. I can't really. I thought I wrote a note about it, but I can't. I didn't write the note about it. But a couple of times there would be like, we magically went to this other scene. Like, oh, this magically happened. And it's just like, what the fuck? How y'all just skip stages? You said that you needed somebody for the fundraiser. Next day, yup, got everybody. Next day, don't got nobody. And then the person who you hired gave you a non-refundable deposit, and then she canceled and you didn't get the money back. What are y'all talking about? Like, y'all just wrote some dumb shit. That was stupid, but that's all I had to say.
So what you rate it?
I'd give it a 3 because I like Maya.
Fair.
2.5 because I like Maya.
That's fair. Oh, okay.
That's appropriate. That's appropriate. Okay. I like that.
All right, Tristan.
Okay. First off, the title was ridiculous. That was already crazy. This hot girl winter. That's already wild.
It's Miami.
That's already wild.
She's dating.
That's already wild. That's already wild.
It makes sense.
Sure, good for them. Anyway, first off, can we talk about the bad Photoshop job? Because they kept going back to this photo and letting us look at it with the way they superimposed their heads on that fucking photo. That just looked the fuck
her husband and all when they showed his face. I was like, that don't look like the nigga from the picture at all.
Ridiculous. Yeah. And then I'm trying to understand. So y'all only been married 30 years. How old is Santa Claus? Isn't Santa Claus like 1,000 years old? 2,000 years old?
But it's been passed down,
But from who to who?
He said his great grandpa, then his grandpa, then his dad. Yeah, it's been passed down.
He's not 1,000 years old.
Santa Claus been
normal age.
Right. He's a man. He's a man. He's they're human. It's passed down
Okay.
within the family.
That's fine. Whatever.
Okay.
And then like, can we talk about that beach day? How was nobody at the beach? Was it a private beach? Where the fuck were they? You're in Miami. Everybody's at the beach. Every time,
Also,
all day, every day, everybody's at the beach.
But there's several different beaches,
date
though.
for a stripper to have provided. Like,
strippers make money. Strippers make money.
In Miami?
Miami, a stripper could make 70 upwards $150,000 a year.
King of Diamonds,
that's true. That's true.
Yeah,
it
man.
Depends on where he's stripping at. But yeah, I was like impressed by that.
He looked like he showed it all. So
I'm just low key. I'm upset they needed a plane to get anywhere. Santa Claus don't have a private plane. Like, I just feel like Santa Claus got other stuff.
Sleigh, but he said he couldn't take the sleigh in case he wouldn't make it back. That's
why
he left it there.
Like, he's magical. Whatever, it's fine. I just feel like Santa didn't have enough magic. But first off, all I'm gonna say about this movie is, if the shit was reversed, if they had called this hot boy winter, and he was like, man, I'm tired of these Claus out here. I'm about to go
Get some
and see what's really good, right? They would have been like, oh, this trifling, philandering ass nigga out here in Miami. Yeah. But she can go out here on several dates, talk in strip clubs and shit with a son, and man, fuck out of here.
I agree with you, Tristan. I don't think that was cool. I'm not giving her no, it's okay. Yeah. Like, that wasn't cool at all. And
then he over here talking about, I gotta go get my woman. I gotta get my... She need to bring her ass home. What she need to do, like you didn't know what it was when you signed up for this. Bitch, I'm Santa Claus. The fuck you think going on the last 2 weeks of Christmas? Now you want to take a vacation? Right. Are you serious? Vacations happen January 1st. That is when we go on a vacation. Mm-hmm. We should go out for New Year's. That's when we going out. Mm-hmm. Like, the whole plot was stupid. Whole plot was stupid. You really trying to do this right now?
It's our busy season. It's
girl, you are tripping right now. You want some fuck shit of the highest order. Yeah. Like, are you insane? Like, children need gifts. You are selfish. That's what this is right now. There are children that need gifts and people that believe in me, and you over here talking about, well, you don't appreciate my needs. Girl, I know you fine. That's why I married you. We got kids and everything. Talk about to me on fucking New Year's. Let's go to Miley Cyrus's event and we can talk about some shit. Fuck out of here. I was so irritated with the whole plot. I'm like, y'all didn't even try. Y'all didn't even fucking try. Just I'm just now, because I'm thinking about getting that upset. The movie gets a 2. A 2.
Wow.
A 2.
You doing to spite me because I gave your movie a low rating. That's all they said.
No, not even. I just thought about it. It was originally going to be a 2.5 just because it was silly. And I was like, all right, but y'all did a good job with the venues, nice spaces,
Love Maya.
You had some cool... Mm-hmm. Right, Maya's cool. She's funny. Her comedic timing's decent. Her and Shell Purcell, they got some decent chemistry together. That's cool. All right. I like the Latin dude, Andy. Javier. I know him from other stuff. Mm-hmm, yeah, I've seen him in other Javier stuff. Was cool. Again, you decent casted. Aren't really anything. It's a Hallmark meets Netflix movie, a spicy Hallmark movie, if you will. Mm-hmm. But just thinking about all of that, a 2. A fucking 2. That's what it's gonna be. It's a 2.
Okay. Well, I enjoyed it overall. I do agree with the points that y'all made, Sean, about like how the scenes were cut and stuff like that. It did seem like very like abrupt. There was like not a good flow to it. I agree with both of y'all in the fact that I do not approve that this married woman was going out on dates just because she was upset with her husband.
The most legendary nigga ever. Yeah. Most legendary nigga ever. And you're not going to give him some credit?
Yeah. I agree. This is like tax season for accountants. Like, this is your busy season. It doesn't make sense to go on vacation before. It would be after, when he does have time to actually focus on it. So I agree with the whole like plot line and stuff like that. But again, love Maya, love her down. Shel Purcell is my favorite, like on Tubi, period. Like, and she is a great actress. And like you said, talking about comedic timing. Like, I just love their chemistry together. I appreciate eye candy.
Great. Yeah, I was about to say, I was like, I'm gonna be quiet because I'm hating, but thank you, Sean.
Let them have it. I appreciate the eye candy. All these men were very handsome and good looking, so I appreciate that fact.
Handsome men, sure.
I'm gonna give it a 3.
Trying to give it a 4. She want to give it a 4. She really want to give it a 4, don't she?
No,
see it in her face.
No,
see it in her face.
Never.
She definitely wanted to
give it a 3.
At least 3.5.
Right. But she was like,
I did. But y'all brought us
"Mom."
some valuable, valid points, which I took into consideration. So I will give it a 3.
All right, respect. We respect that. All right, here. Okay.
So we gotta answer that
we
question.
gotta ask the question. Does it do it for the culture?
I think it did because it gave us a black Claus, right? A black, Mr. and Mrs. Santa Claus who were actual real people. Shows that they, go through things like any other married couple type of stuff, but they still came back together. I'd say it did it for the culture.
I'm gonna go with
Dang,
no.
Sean looked like she did. Oh, dang. Why?
I just didn't like the plot. Like, I just didn't like I appreciate the Black Santa. You got me on that. But I didn't like the plot. So it's a no for me.
Dang.
Not a good
I'm gonna say I'm gonna say like begrudgingly yes.
Okay.
Only because of the simple fact that it was a different locale than normal. It was in Miami. You did a good job with showing black people of of a certain ilk. That was cool. I did like that people were dressed nicely in the movie. A lot of nice things that were pretty cool. I mean, I wasn't digging all the straight hair, but whatever. I get it. Y'all.
I was like, ooh, I just remembered they had on
that. Yeah, they did. And that's fine. Good for y'all.
I always got a good wig on. Like, I ain't never seen her
that was fucking it up in the flash mob.
They did, and I'm holding on to that.
Okay.
So right,
Mm-hmm.
and again, the music was pretty good, and I felt like it did do a good job of presenting black folk in a positive light.
Okay,
but the plot was crazy; it was insane, and so that's why I say begrudgingly yes. Like it's just like, yeah, I guess it does. That's fine. That's fine. But I agree with Sean. It could easily be no. So I'm not going to tell you that Sean is incorrect, but yes, begrudgingly, yes, it does it for the culture, sure.
Okay, we'll take it. Hey y'all, it's your girl Les, stopping by to let you know we have new merch dropping. Check it all out at culture101podcast.com.
Well, does that do it? Does that do it for this Tubi movie review?
I think it does.
Thank you again, guys, for tuning in to this another Tubi movie review. That does it for Hot Girl Winter. We'd like it again if you would like and subscribe. Check us out on all the platforms, Spotify, YouTube, Apple, wherever you get those podcasts. And if you wanted to reach out to us and tell us about other movies that were potentially better than Hot Girl Winter that you would like to see, or just have thoughts on this movie in general, Leslie, how would they do that?
You can definitely drop a comment on our socials or DM us, or you can just email us at contact@culture101podcast.com.
At this point, I'm looking for Shell Purcell to hit us up because damn many movies we didn't cover of hers.
I'm gonna reach out to her and see if we can get her on the pod. I want to get inside her mind.
We need to talk to you, girl, because some of these roles just been rolling.
Will there be 3 wrongs coming? I just want to know.
I will literally be Charlemagne for that interview. It will be because I'm gonna have some tough questions.
Make it right. Come on.
Damn sure don't. But Sean, what is right is gifts for the holiday, because this is a holiday movie. They needed to find some of those gifts. Where would they get those?
If y'all are looking for some merch for anybody in your life, a lover, a side chick, a side nigga, your kids, whoever you're looking for a gift for, you can find it at Culture 101 Podcast /shop. We got everything that you're looking for. We got mugs, we got jackets, we got t-shirts, we got pins, we got stickers, we got mouse pads. Anything that you're looking for, we got it. So there are no excuses. Make sure you support.
That's highly appropriate. You mentioned side nigga given the plot of this movie, so that was very appropriate. I'm glad that you said that.
Both her side
put that in people's minds.
Some Culture 101.
She really could have. Oh my God, some C101 swag popped up with it. Exactly. Exactly. Well, until the next time, guys, we out of here.
Bye.